Okay.
Oh, shoot.
All right. Just, All right, who am I playing?
Freaking Bing Bong. My
Cool.
least
You did
favorite.
not go where I went. All right, so what did you see that helps you identify that I was playing the Wraith?
The spine chill shenanigans. No,
Okay.
I walked into a wall. I'm sorry.
You're good. But let's say you aren't playing Spine Chill. How would you identify that I am the Wraith right at this moment?
I mean, mostly, the way that I've usually figured out is not even from like the little shimmer that you can kind of see when he's moving, but mostly from the sound of him, like his little snarls while he's walking around.
Exactly.
That's what I usually get.
Yeah. So obviously there are many, many ways to identify the Wraith. The primary identifications for the Wraith, and primary identifications for the Wraith are, as Lydia pointed out, listening for his snarling noise, his footsteps, but also, when the Wraith is within 20 meters of you, you can see his shimmering shape. However, a good Wraith will not be letting you see that so often. They'll be sneaking up from locations that allow them to, not be seen when they're coming up, because they do know that the shimmering gives them away. The other is the bell noise. If you hear that bell noise and you haven't seen the killer yet, you know it's the Wraith. So, what are the Wraith's strengths? His primary strength is his stealth, obviously, not being seen until the last moment. What is his weakness? My bad aim, apparently, and his uncloaking time.
You were the worst. Rude.
So, obviously, if I was to, in that situation there, right here in this generator that Lydia was at earlier, Lydia saw me coming from a mile away. And so, that was unfortunate. However, let's go heal yourself up, Lydia, and let's go find a generator. Well, go find a generator, and preferably find one that doesn't have good visibility.
Maybe, do you want me to tell you where I'm going?
No, just go find one, and then I'll come find you.
Okay, because I know the perfect one. This is hide and seek now. Count to 10. And don't look at my scratch marks.
Yes, I will not look at your scratch marks, but I'm pretty certain I know where you're going.
Probably. Okay, I'm on a gen.
Okay, you're on a gen. Okay, so one of the things you want to do as Wraith is, like I did right there, is come around the corners. Try to uncloak behind corners and come around and hit, and get the hits, from behind corners. Because if you're looking on Lydia's screen and you see me come walk, if I come, you can see me coming from a mile away when I'm shimmering. So that is one thing that I would recommend. If you're playing the Wraith, try to catch survivors unaware by coming at them from different angles, and from around corners, behind walls, things where they don't have the line of sight to see your shimmering. So, other tips. The first tip, obviously, is Spine Chill. Spine Chill is very useful against all stealth killers. It lets you know. So if you look on Lydia's screen, you can see the cat. The cat with the arched back is currently lit up because I'm looking at her. That lets you know if the killer is coming your way. And obviously, Spine Chill can be tricked, like what I tried to do right there. If you were watching my screen, is I was walking sideways. So I figured she was on that generator, so I was walking sideways and backpedaling until I got into the position I want. Spine Chill can be tricked, but that's, requires you to have decent knowledge of what is standing behind you and, or to the side of you, because, if you don't want to be looking and triggering spine chill. Also, spine chill, just because your spine chill is going off does not mean you should start running. I want to clarify that. I love spine chill. It's one of my favorite perks. I run it on almost every one of my survivor builds, but just because your spine chill is going off does not mean it's running. Like, for example, if we look at Lydia, I look at Lydia for 1 second. You know, her spine chill is probably going crazy right now because I'm just looking at her, looking away, looking at her, looking away. You do not need the... So, you know, what you want to be looking for is the consistent spine chill. A spine chill that is consistently going off like it currently is. It means I am headed towards Lydia. You know, I am headed towards the survivor. The other perk, so how is your exhaustion looking right now, Lydia?
It's about halfway gone.
Okay, alright. So the other perk that I asked Lydia to bring is Sprint Burst. It's one of my favorite exhaustion perks. Most survivors, you'll be running an exhaustion perk. But if you are in a high visibility generator, or if you know, even if you're not, and you hear the sound, let me know when your exhaustion is gone. But
we're good.
Okay, when you hear the sound, while you're hearing the sound, you sprint burst away, and you try to get to a pallet or window like this, pallet or window that lets you avoid the Wraith.
Oh, I can pick
breaking. It's like I should be breaking less pallets because you need to pick them up. But so Sprint Burst is less effective than it used to be because they buffed the Wraith's speed coming out of Cloak so much. It can still, you really have to make sure you are pretty close to pallets or windows or loops of any sort to be able to be safe with Sprint Burst. I would personally say that they have made Wraith into one of the more oppressive killers with that speed boost that they gave him with that buff. Another trick with Wraith is you can flashlight burn, is what it's called, flashlight burn Wraith out of his stealth. So if I'm in my stealth,
Should I try and find flashlight? You keep talking, I'll go look for a flashlight.
If you find a flashlight, if you have a flashlight, you can point the flashlight at a Wraith while it is stealth, and it will make the Wraith come out of stealth and then stun the Wraith for a few seconds, allowing you to get some distance if you need to. However, it's, again, very difficult to pull off because you have to, know the Wraith is there and coming. And with some of the buffs they've given Wraith recently, it is a little bit more difficult to pull off. But then, of course, the other thing about Wraith is you want to be avoiding low visibility generators. Let me see. So like that one Lydia was working on, a low visibility generator. You can't really see if the killer is coming at you from outside. If, let's say that there was a generator tucked in a corner back over here, this would be a bad place because you can't really see what's going on. This generator right here that I'm currently at and the generator that Lydia's been working on all match are great generators to be working on against a Wraith because you have pretty much visibility from all angles. You'll be able to see the Wraith coming at you, and he won't be able to get that. He won't be able to get that stealth surprise hit on you because sometimes he can get grabs because that's what you want. You can try to get grabs off generators when you are coming out of stealth. But the primary thing is to listen for his snarl and his footsteps. I always tell people when they come to my streams that really your sound is your best friend in this game, more so than even your sight. If you can hear and predict things, it's way better. I can't count the number of times that I, as a killer, playing killer, have been able to find survivors that I lost just because I stopped for a second, listening, and use my ears. I feel like not enough people, and I know there are people who play this game with YouTube videos or Hulu or Netflix or Hulu or whatever going on the ground. I cannot play the game like that because I rely on my sound so much. But yeah, so that's pretty much what there is to know about playing against Wraith. Again, the Wraith his playstyle is an aggressive M1 killer. So when I say aggressive, it means he wants to actively be going after the survivors, pressuring them off generators. And when I say an M1 killer, it means he only relies on his M1 to be able to get the hits. He doesn't rely on anything else. Do you have any additional questions about Wraith, Lydia?
So you were talking about the grabs. He can only get those when he's unstealth fully, right?
Yes,
He can't come up on you.
Yeah, so he has to unstealth fully, and so generally he won't be able to get those grabs. There are a few add-ons that we're going to talk about because that's one of the next things. One of the also things is add-ons to watch out for. So the Wraith's add-ons to watch out for him are the Coxcombed Clapper, which makes it so that way his bell doesn't make any noise when he uses it. And that is a great way to be getting, it is an iridescent add-on, so it is quite rare. The other more common one that you're going to see is the Bone Clapper, which is a yellow add-on. And that makes it so that way the bell loses all sound and direction, so you don't know how close the Wraith really is when he is coming hyper-kicking. You don't really know what direction he is coming from when he unstealths. So those are the two primary add-ons that I would watch out for as a survivor, and it's pretty easy to identify them if he's not making noise when he unstealths, or if you are or if he's right next to you and it sounds like his bell is coming from halfway across the map. That means it's Bone Clapper. So those are the two add-ons that I would watch out for. Of course, he does have lots of other add-ons that do other things to his powers. Not going to talk about a lot about those add-ons at this current juncture. Maybe in a future Dead by Dojo, we can sit and talk about all the add-ons of a specific killer. But with needing to cover two other killers, I just wanted to cover the two, what I consider to be the two most deadly add-ons for this killer. Anyway.
So basically, what you're saying is like the trick with Wraith is like the approach.
Yes.
When he is coming from not being around you to like unstealthing and chasing you. Once the speed boost from uncloaking is gone, he's basically like any other little basic M1 killer.
And one of the things you can do that I see a lot of Wraiths do, you can burn. You do have add-ons. So you can use add-ons that decrease your uncloaking time. So and decrease your cloak time, so that way you can stealth, unstealth, get the speed boost, and then you can stealth again. Lydia has taken my lessons to heart. You stealth again, and then you re-stealth to get another speed boost. Lydia is playing around the shack, so it didn't really work here. But you stealth again, and then you unstealth again to get your speed boost. Oh man, that was so close.
Oh,
that was pretty close. But yeah, the other thing about your, again, it's all about the approach. The other thing about your approach is being aware of what's around the area you're in. So, and then forcing, it's like kind of what we were talking about last week with pallets. What side of the pallet you want the survivor to be on. So being in the position where you can force the survivor to run the direction you want them to. If you know that there's a jungle gym nearby that you don't want them going to, or a loop of any sort, you come from that direction, so that way the survivor is forced to run the other direction. Anything else about Wraith that we want to discuss?
So he's fairly easy to counter when you've got Sprint First and Spine Chill. What if you don't have those?
If you don't have those, then you just need to rely on your ability to run loops. Because again, when he's uncloaked, you just need to, you rely on, you rely on your ability to run loops and your ability to, use pallets effectively and things like that. And then, of course, the other things that I mentioned. Staying away from generators that have low visibility unless you're pretty certain that he's in a chase somewhere else. But then, of course, that doesn't mean anything because he could stealth and always come back up, come catch you again. And as well as, listening for that snarl and footsteps, so that way you can start to gain distance before. Because that is the other advantage. If the survivor, if the Wraith is coming around a corner and he thinks you're there, like he hears you working on a generator, and you hear him early, you can start running, but he's not looking around the corner necessarily until he's come around that corner, so you can get a little bit of distance on him. So again, it's just being aware of being aware of the sounds and being aware of everything else. That your line of sight and be paying attention for the Wraith.
Yeah, not like that.
Not like that.
There are a couple of people in my chat talking about how the light burn also works with flashbangs and firecrackers.
That is
and
true.
also to keep an eye out for cloaked Wraiths in a chase. They will block vault points and pallets. So like if you're trying to, pallet slam them or something, because they're way faster than you while cloaked,
yes,
they'll like go and
significantly.
camp the pallet. So, like just
to prevent that from being done. Which it depends on the situation how effective that is. Because then factoring in the uncloaking time, if the killer runs, wow, you've been trying to get that generator done all game.
I mean, trying in quotes.
But it depends, because like then if they block it, that gives you the opportunity to turn and run a different direction and go to a different different loop or a different vault point, whatever. So that is a danger to watch for, but I wouldn't say it's of grave concern. That is something Wraith can do, though.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. I just got a new follow. Give me 1 sec.
You're good. I've totally lost Lydia. No idea where she went. That's okay. We're probably going to switch to one of the other killers here in a second. Actually, that's what we'll do. We'll just leave the match and switch